Get started for today. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining the ACA Small Business Bootcamp for this Tuesday, February 22nd. So if you didn't take note, today is 2/22/22. I don't know if it's a day to play the lottery or not, but we got lots of twos in today's date. So thank you for joining us. I'm Robert Theobald, Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services, and I want to welcome you and thank you for being here. As we like to do, if you're new to us, we like to start by thanking all our community partners. It's just a sample list of our community partners. We've got over 140 that have helped with the boot camp. They spent their time, their effort, their expertise to share with all of our participants. So those that are new, the Small Business Boot Camp is designed to help small businesses prepare, plan, and grow. For 2020, we've made some changes, but it continues to be a statewide initiative supported by all of our community partners. As I mentioned, we have over 140 that have helped participate. And some of the changes that we mentioned are, we are doing 1 day a week. We are doing Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. And then we have started a workshop series as part of that too, where we anticipate having about one workshop a month with various community partners, working to help bring all the great workshops that are going on throughout the state to the boot camp participants. Additionally, the boot camp has our content library, as you can see there on the screen, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this as well. A note about the workshop series: tomorrow is our February workshop in partnership with the Phoenix Business Journal, Wells Fargo, Gallagher and Kennedy Law Firm, REDW is accounting firm, and the SBDC. We've got a great lineup for tomorrow's workshop. It is from 9 to 11. We're going to talk about a little bit more in the upcoming events, but it's going to be an exciting workshop. When we talk about the content library, since we started the Small Business Bootcamp, we recorded all of our webinars, or most of the webinars. There's some due to licensing that we could not record and post, but we have over 200 recorded webinars available on our website under the content library for you to access at any time. There's no cost to review them. We have the recording of the presentation and the slide decks and any other materials that our presenters wanted to share available to you. You can find it by week, or you can search by topic. You can see there's 7 different topics that you can search among to find information that is helpful for your business. It's a great resource. Again, it's available to you. You can share the links as well. Anybody with the internet can access these and get some great information. 2 other websites we want to touch on real quick are the state's COVID-19 information and resource page, ArizonaTogether.org, and the Arizona Commerce Authority's COVID-19 business page. It's COVID-19 Business Resources at azcommerce.com/COVID-19. And this page has additional business guidance and some financial information, other information for businesses related to COVID-19. Excuse me. Also, the ACA has a number of programs to help support small businesses, our small business services, our workforce division, and our Arizona MEP, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. They're all programs to help small businesses grow within Arizona. Additionally, if you're an entrepreneur looking to start or expand your business, we have our small business checklist. And this is an interactive online checklist that helps people identify the commonly requested licensing, registration, and compliance requirements at the local, state, and federal level. Now, you can also find a lot of other great business information and resources on this checklist program. You'll notice down in the right-hand corner, a little image right here. You'll see that is Sally, our virtual assistant that helps with some of the simple things on the checklist program. Sally stands for State and Local Licensing Information. So feel free to check out our checklist and help us with our beta test of Sally, our virtual assistant. Now, some quick business updates. We're going to share some links in the chat for those who can access them. And one is going to be the link to the Small Business Administration, the SBA. Their website has a lot of great business information. I'd like to share that. They're a great partner. The Arizona District Office for the SBA, we work closely with them. They're a phenomenal team there. Additionally, business support programs. The SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, is a key resource. SCORE is another resource, and then the Women's Business Centers. Those are 3 great business support programs, and there are many others throughout the state that you can access at no cost to help support your small business as you're starting and growing. So I'll post those links. Just a note, the PPP Loan Forgiveness. If you got a PPP loan in early 2021, your loan forgiveness period may be coming up to where you need to apply for forgiveness if you haven't already done so. We want to share that because we found that a number of small businesses, a significant number, are not applying for the forgiveness that they can receive. And so we want to make sure they understand how to and what to do. And then there's a note, the Emerge AZ Fast Grant. We're going to list some information on that. It is a grant that is available for some small businesses throughout the state. So with that, we want to look at some of our upcoming sessions. As I mentioned, we have our workshop tomorrow. We call this Accessing Capital for Small Business Growth. This is targeting the small businesses out there that are looking to grow this year and may need to access capital to do so. We're going to learn from bankers, lawyers, and accountants on things that you can do to help prepare you to seek that capital, so it can be as successful as possible in that in the seeking that funding. So we've got a great lineup planned for that. Again, it's from 9 to 11. It is a 2-hour session, and we're excited. In that workshop, we will do other similar ones throughout this year, and some of those may be in person or hybrid. But this one is all online, virtual on Zoom, just like today's webinar. And then next Tuesday, we have an update on the employee retention credit. If you're working on your business taxes right now, we wanted to share this to touch on it because it is a business credit that could potentially provide some great funding for you. So we want you to learn about that. And then on Tuesday, March 8th is tax credits you didn't realize you can get. Again, if you're working on your taxes right now, this is going to focus on the R&D tax credit program, but don't be scared away by the R&D. We've done this once before, this workshop, and this one is pretty amazing because most small businesses out there, most businesses can potentially take advantage of the R&D tax credit program. So I would encourage you to attend to see how this works and how you may be able to leverage it for your business as you're working on your taxes. And then with that, we'll jump into today's session. Today, we've got a brand new speaker for us, Chris Amos. He's the owner and chief digital architect of No Boundaries Marketing Group. I met Chris a few years ago before COVID, and a great presentation, great presenter, and very knowledgeable on the topic. So we are going to go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing, Chris, and turn the time over to you.
All right, let's rock and roll. Let's hope technology's my friend today. How about that?
That's
all right.
Good.
All righty, everybody. Well, thank you guys for joining today, and I hope you guys find this presentation useful. We do this at a number of different sessions like this throughout the year as a part of our commitment to giving back to small businesses as well. So if you guys have any questions, please, I always tell people I'm full of useless knowledge. So don't hesitate to give us a call. We're always willing to answer questions and guide, put people on the right path here. So today's presentation is going to be filled with a lot of information. So I'm going to breeze through this. Obviously, I know it like the back of my hand, but other people might have questions. So feel free to load those into the chat. We'll periodically stop and take a look at that type of stuff. But if there's no questions, we'll keep rocking and rolling. So hopefully there's a little tidbit that you guys can take out of this and apply to your business today. So without further ado, all right, so technology, marketing strategies, everything's really honestly evolving at the speed of light. So 2021 was an interesting year, to say the least. Obviously consumers, it's really, I like to equate it to this, is that, even from our clients to, consumers, really nobody knows really what to do or how to do it anymore. We all stand back and say, well, how does that business want to do business? How is it like, are people coming into the office? Do we have to wear masks? Do we have to do this? And, honestly, we all just rolling with the punches right now. So COVID brings a unique challenge and element to the ball game. So there's just a ton of misinformation out there. So, unfortunately, as business owners, it's really tough for us to control that narrative. So, really what it comes down to is just making sure that you're setting the right expectations with clients or potential clients and really making consumers feel safe and comfortable in your business. And so for our strategies, I'm actually going to go over what we're doing this year. This is applicable for our business here. But more so than that, there's going to be a lot of stuff in the midst that we cover as well that you guys can apply to your business too. So first up, visibility and lead generation. Those two really go hand in hand, right? So while it's a pretty broad concept, the tactics that we use are actually pretty precise. So there's a series of tools and resources to add visibility and to increase our lead generation. Those are going to be social media, local listings like Google My Business and Yelp, email marketing, and paid advertising. Those are going to be our 4 mediums that we're going to talk about today. Now, I'm going to stress a couple of things in this. A lot of people, we're on social media. Do we use it effectively? Maybe, maybe not. So we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about that. Local listings, this is oftentimes people try to do shortcuts with this. They try to, hire services like Yext or Moz or some of these other different automated services to claim listings. And again, not that those companies aren't amazing, not that they don't offer great resources, but I'm going to teach you guys as business owners how to do it yourself, save a little bit of money, and also manage that appropriately. Even to that point, Google My Business, or now just Google Business or My Business or whatever they're calling it now. But, a lot of business owners, they're still not even claiming those pages. They're still not optimizing those pages. And the same thing with Yelp, love them or hate them, they're still a viable player in the game. So we need to make sure that we have these profiles up. We'll talk about email marketing and paid advertising. And paid advertising is another one of those really broad umbrellas that will try to help you guys better understand. So first up is going to be social media. So seemingly everybody has an opinion on this. And I've been in this business a long time. And I can tell you, I've heard from countless presenters just like myself, mentors, business owners, 1,000 different ways you should be to be successful on social media. And I can tell you, most of them are just not correct. And I'm not going to preach to anybody today and say I have the silver bullet for everybody's problems. What I am going to say is that we're going to use a lot of common sense. And so what I mean by that is when we look at that big picture, you're going to hear me say countless times in this presentation is that it's all about knowing your customer and it's all about being consistent. Those two things really work hand in hand. And I'm going to explain why. So big picture wise, whether you want to use 500 hashtags in your post, you can post 2 times a day or not post or what. Like I said, you need to do what you can be consistent with. So as business owners, I will stress, we wear 1,000 different hats. One day I'm the janitor, next day I'm the secretary, next day I'm the copy boy. I wear a million different hats here. And so unfortunately, I can't always dedicate that time and energy to everything. And so I need to be able to break up my day. I need to be able to break up my tasks. And so certain things get done on certain days. When we talk about consistency, this is really, really key. My wife, who is actually behind me over here, we tackle our social media together. So as a small business, I'm very fortunate that I have a partner in this that obviously I can rely on and delegate some things to. And so one of those is that we work hand in hand with our social media to really set a specific time every single month, typically on a Sunday or, a Monday morning. We'll go through, spend a few hours putting together posts, gathering up content, talking about things that maybe clients have talked to us about over the week, and really put together some thoughtful, meaningful posts for clients. And then we go in and we schedule those out. What that does is that really helps us to A, stay consistent, but B, it really falls under knowing our customer. And so this is where I really, 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 really want to stress to you guys is that these two things together are, in my opinion, how to be successful in social. So when we look at this, again, we're scheduling out filler content throughout the month. So, we might schedule 2 to 3 posts a week. Now, does that mean we don't share stuff throughout the week? We don't create little impromptu posts here and there? Of course not. But what it does is it breaks up my day to say, hey, on a Monday, if I'm just really, really busy and I can't get to social media, fantastic, I already have one scheduled. So that way I'm staying relevant to my client base. Again, the posts that we're creating are all based on questions, concerns, things that have been brought up with clients. And so it's something that we want to reiterate or we want to make sure that other people know. So again, this is how we leverage social media to keep relevant in the market, to keep consistent with our clients or potential clients, and we can make sure that we're diversifying our posts. So an effective social media strategy to us is one that generates engagement. Truth is, social media, there's so many different ways to do this out there. Social campaigns or some social campaigns that we follow, I can tell you, I have one in particular that they only post once a week, and they do a little Facebook Live every Friday. And believe it or not, that they have tons and tons and tons of followers. So again, this is all about knowing your clients. They know their clients really, really well. They know the best time of week for them to post is going to be on Friday, and they don't bog down their feed with a whole bunch of, filler posts here and there. They do one a week, and they developed an amazing audience for that. So really, know your client. That's really what this comes down to for the second part. So understanding your client base. And the example that I'll give you is this. If we have let's say a 65-year-old, if we're going after a demographic of, let's say 65 plus, we're going to focus on a lot of like rich content. We're going to talk about it. We're going to educate. We're going to have a lot of, still have a nice diverse, image in there, maybe a video, but really we're going to focus a lot on content. If I'm targeting, let's just say an 18 to 24-year-old, I'm going to focus mostly on the image, the videos, things like that to create that type of engagement. So again, it really just depends on who you're trying to target as to what type of post that you're going to do. So pro tip as a business owner, if you only have time to post once a day, then post once a day. If you can only post a couple times a week, then post a couple times a week. I will just tell you, do what you can to be consistent. Certainly more the merrier, but at the end of the day, you got to make this stuff count. Now, what to post is a very common question that we get. So to touch on that, again, a lot of businesses that we see that come to us and they'll have an evaluation or they'll ask us to review things. One of the number one things that we see on social media is that it's all about me. Me. Here's a coupon. They're discounting their services. They're talking about, they're solely talking about their products. And really, there's nothing there of substance. It's really just look at me, look at me, look at me. And unfortunately, people get tired of seeing that stuff. So this is where we talk about common sense and we say, what does your audience want to talk? What do they want to hear, read, or see? And so this is where we diversify our posts. So 2022 is going to be all about education. People want to know the why, about why to buy or why to connect with you or why to engage with you. So they want to know more about products and services. They want to know more about how things work, stuff like that. And so some great ideas for posts are going to be things like talk about your staff, your leadership. A lot of times we undervalue that. What we bring to the table as, business owners, or what our staff bring to table as customer service advocates, these are the people that are front and center every single day. So don't be afraid to talk about them. A lot of people, especially with our physicians or doctors, I personally want to see who I'm going to be meeting with. And I love to educate myself on, what they're all about. Same thing with a plumber that's coming to my house. Now, granted, I don't expect George Brazil to go out and do bios on every single one of their technicians out there. But at the same time, especially if it's a mom and pop business, we need to take credit for, what we bring to the table. And that is being a small business. So don't be afraid to feature yourself. Don't be afraid to talk about, what you guys bring to the table as business owners or your staff for that matter. Other ones, big one for us is community service projects and charity involvement. As business owners, again, not just us, but our staff as well, we do so much to give back, and seldom do business owners take credit for that. Whether it's sponsoring a car show, a soccer team, you name it. This is a concept we call humanizing the brand. And this is a big one out there. And again, one that we seldom take credit for. So don't be afraid to talk about those things. Don't be afraid to talk about, the give backs, whether, you sponsor a race for the cure, you name it. Like I said, soccer teams, any of these things. These are awesome ways to connect with the community and create that engagement. Oftentimes too, by tagging these businesses or organizations, they'll reciprocate, and that'll actually open you up to connecting with their demographic or their followers as well. So there's really a lot of benefit to doing that. And even though a lot of people will come in and say, oh, well, I do this to give back. I really, I'm not trying to take credit. I get that. And I respect that a lot. But at the same time, as a business owner, if you want to do more of that type of stuff, you want to give more back, this is how we do it, is we have to expand our presence. Other ones that are seldom utilized are client testimonials. I do see a lot of businesses that'll take reviews from Google and they'll post them up there, stuff like that. And that has a limited amount of, engagement associated with it. But if you can get a client to really sit down and do a video testimonial, I can tell you that is just amazingly powerful. The common misconception there is that most people think this has to be Spielberg work, that they have to go to some studio, there has to be some production. And I can tell you it doesn't. A lot of the times what most people or most consumers engage with is the genuine stuff. Pick up the phone. I mean, I have a Google Pixel. I can tell you it does fine. You got a recent iPhone pretty much anything after like a 7, they take phenomenal images or pictures or videos. So it's really just thinking outside the box and figuring out, all right, what can you do to, get a client engaged? They engage, they do a video testimonial. I promise you, they're going to share that. They love engaging with it. So there's a lot of cool stuff that can come from that. Next up, relative news or industry information. I think that that's all pretty much basic stuff. Again, this is just about educating your clients, educating them on trends, tips, tricks, things that are happening out there. And then obviously motivational posts. So tons and tons and tons of stuff out there. The next thing we're going to talk about is local listings. So local listings, most business owners, again, fail to take advantage of this. And this is something that is right there at your fingertips. So local listings, they're powerful online directories. These are things like Yelp, Google My Business, city search. It's stuff that you've never even heard of, but they're powerful business listings from the sense that Google does look at them. It's all about consistency. Again, you're going to hear me say that a lot. So most clients will tell us, oh, I've nobody finds me on that. And they're probably right. They probably never gotten a lead from that. But I can tell you, if you have business X over here and business Y over here, they're both competing head to head, apples for apples. This business takes advantage of their online listings and keeps it consistent and it all looks good. I can promise you, if they're going to rank higher, there's just going to be more attributes that are in their wheelhouse than yours. And so if this is the little thing that sets us over the edge or differentiates us from our competition, I will just tell you, take advantage of it. If you guys need a list, I have a list of like 70 of them that, are fairly easy to go out and claim. I will tell you, it's a very tedious process. It's nothing fancy. You just go out there, much like claiming your Google My Business or your Yelp profiles. It's just a matter of going on there, following their directions. Most of them have pretty intuitive tutorials for it. Some of them will want you to pay. I'm always of the belief that, there's a time and a place to pay. For right now, just focus on the free ones. Go out there, claim these things, get them, get your listings out there. And then from there, go to the paid ones if you have more time or you feel that they're of value. So again, lots of benefits behind local listings. So consistently update these things. What I will tell you, I focus on Google My Business and Yelp. Those are the two for us and our clients that we update regularly. A common mistake that businesses make, they just set it and forget it. They don't look at, updated hours, and again, with COVID, that was a big problem. Businesses were closing early. They had limited hours or they had different requirements for coming in. Maybe they're by appointment only. And so a lot of business owners failed to update that, and that set wrong expectations for clients, which ended up getting very frustrating. And so again, this is where we need to take ownership of this, and we need to make sure that I check on a weekly basis, so I'll leave that up to you to what you can be consistent with. But at a bare minimum, every single month, you should be going into your Google My Business page and you should be looking at everything, updating what you can. Google has a social media feature to it, which is called Google Posts. It's right there at the very top if you're logging in on your desktop. Mobile is preferred, by the way. If you haven't downloaded the app, I would highly encourage that. It's much easier to manage your profiles on that. But again, go in there, update everything, make sure your hours are correct, make sure the phone number is good, website. Oftentimes consumers will make recommendations as well. So you want to make sure to validate those. Those could be completely wrong, and you don't want Google making assumptions that, hey, maybe this information is right. You can add attributes, so many different things. So again, best practices, try to get in there as often as possible. The other thing I will say, pro tip, please make sure that you're updating pictures. Google's in an epic battle right now with the social media giants. And what they're doing is they're losing on key visuals. We know that that's what's driving a lot of the engagement lately or recently in the last few years. And so unfortunately, Google doesn't have a great resource for that. And so they're utilizing Google My Business as that platform. So again, as business owners, that's the one thing we can control. So again, they have a whole little list of things that they'd love for you to post about: staff, interior of your business, exterior of your business. You can go menus, you name it, tons and tons and tons of stuff. So please don't hesitate to do that. Update them regularly. And I can tell you, statistically speaking, the clients that engage with the Google My Business profile more tend to show up higher on local search, which means in that map block there. So I will give you a pro tip. Definitely make sure you're doing that. And the same thing with Yelp. A lot of people dismiss Yelp. Maybe they question their business practices, and we're not going to get into that today, but I will tell you this. They're a giant in the room, or an elephant in the room, if you want to use that analogy. I will tell you that Yelp is the default voice search engine from many platforms, including Apple, Amazon, Alexa, stuff like that. So again, love them or hate them, you really need to have those profiles, because this is what's, going through to other services as well. They're utilizing this data to push this content to clients. So again, make sure you're utilizing this stuff. Another pro tip that I will give you on both of those profiles is that Google My Business and Yelp both have a community forum section where you can ask, as consumers, we can ask questions to the business. This is a great way to help build up that, connection to different keywords and stuff. You can go in, you can have your friends, family, clients, you can have them go into the profile, you can have them actually ask a question to the business, and then you as a business owner can go in there and answer it. Chances are, if it's a legit question that you get asked regularly, other people will probably have that same question, and you're going to end up providing a whole library of useful content that, again, Google indexes, it's all there for you, and same thing with Yelp. So I would highly encourage you guys to take advantage of those opportunities. Next up, we're going to go to email marketing. And again, this is another, hot button item for a lot of clients and a lot of potential clients. Whenever they hear me say it, they cringe. Nobody likes it. They don't like spam. They immediately associate their business with something of that, something negative. And I can tell you this, most of the time, for email marketing, this is something that clients want. This is something that, and I won't say just clients, just potential clients want. We did a little case study with an attorney, and it was hilarious when you sat back and we said, hey, this is what we're encouraging. They said, no, we're never going to do that. None of our clients want to receive that. And I challenged them. I said, hey, let me do this. Let me put on your website a little a little subscribe button. If somebody subscribes to that, if we can get X amount of subscribers by this and such date, you're going to engage with this. You're going to let me do an email marketing campaign. They said, fine, let's do it. Sure enough, we over tripled the number of subscribers in that program versus our goal. And so that was the eye opener for them to say, you know what, maybe people do want to hear, maybe there's an opportunity there. So I would challenge you as a business owner, if you don't think email marketing works or you don't think it's useful for your business, I would challenge you, if you don't have a subscribe button on your website, you should. Start creating content. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Most businesses that fail at email marketing is because you're putting out the same old boring stuff every time. You really need to think about it. Know your clients. Understand, think about what type of questions are you getting in a general week or month? What are your clients or your staff hearing? Those are things that you should be publishing out and you should be answering. You should be using this as a content generator that will ultimately answer people's questions. That's a great way to develop content. Another way, statistics just engage everybody for some reason. Great on social media, great on email marketing, did you know 1 in 5 Arizonans this and this, those are great opportunities for you. So again, really just think about, if you've done email marketing in the past and it hasn't been successful, really take a look at what you were producing there and really ask yourself, is it what my clients want to hear? Is it what they're looking for? If it's not, maybe give it another shot. Again, there's tons of statistics out there, 17% engagement, so on and so forth, but your business best as a business owner or as a marketer. So I would encourage you, just sit down and really think that one through. Plan your attack. This shouldn't be something that's done a lot. Another big issue that I see is that people will slap together an email marketing campaign in an hour and think that, that's going to be gold. Take your time and plan this stuff. I promise you're going to find, little issues. Send yourself a test email. That's another one. Don't just send it out to clients. Just maybe pop a test email over to somebody else. Have them evaluate it and give you some feedback before you send it out to everybody else. I know that's another thing to add to your day, but I promise you it's worth its weight in gold. Next up, and then we're going to look at some Q&A and chats here real quick, but next up is paid advertising. And actually, I got one more slide, then we'll go to that. But paid advertising, whether it's social ads, PPC, really paid advertising spans a wide umbrella here. And really, there's no easy feat. This is, to do it right, you really have to knuckle down and understand what you're getting yourself into. I can tell you, the clients that are educated, that come to me and they know the platform they want to market on, whether it's pay-per-click, they want to do Google ads or Facebook, the clients that come to me and know those platforms and maybe aren't experts, but have at least a vague familiarity with it, they tend to get the most out of their programs compared to those who have absolutely no clue what they're doing. And the reason being is feedback. What's most valuable to people like me as an agency is when clients can give me feedback on leads, how things are going, they can understand certain nuances with, what's coming in and make that connection. And even if it's not a connection per se, at least if we get that feedback, we can look into the programs and optimize them to make them even more effective. And that goes for direct mail. That it really goes for everything. So my big push to you guys would be educate yourself. If it's digital platform, Udemy, LinkedIn, there's a ton of education resources. Even, again, these type of webinars do phenomenal with just giving you a little bit of basic knowledge to take that next step. So again, if you're a business owner, and let's even say you have a marketer in-house, something like that, somebody that's helping you, you should expect them to take these type of courses to better familiarize themselves with whatever medium you guys are choosing to advertise on. Pay-per-click is one of those that, again, we do a lot of focus on. Pay-per-click and social ads are big for us. And so again, it's a love-hate thing. When you do it right, you're going to love it. And if you don't, well, you're going to find some problems. So you want to get it right, whether you're paying an agency like me, or again, I got to stress that education. So you need to make sure that you take those courses. Google has a bunch of free stuff. Again, a lot of resources out there to just educate you on the basics of them. And believe me, that goes a long way. And I'll give you a great example. I just met with a client last week, and he was doing the express version of Google Ads, which is done through the Google My Business profile. They set it up. It was just a quick wham, bam, slam, add the credit card, tell them the category, and pretty much you're set up. The unfortunate part is he was about $2,000 into that program, and he had gotten like 3 leads. And so, obviously a huge, huge, huge problem for him. And so this is one where I say, educate yourself, and I promise you'll avoid situations like this. Understanding what negative keywords are, isolating geographies, targeting strategic demographics, click funnels. There's so much to do with pay-per-click. Again, a simple course will teach you all of this. Do your that AdWords Express. I just went through that, so we don't need to go through that. And then last but not least, there's more to PPC than just Google. Facebook, Bing, social ads, Yelp. There's a lot of other platforms out there to do paid ads. They may not drive the lead volume that you're looking for, but again, they're usually a fraction of the cost, so they're worth the investment. So if you have any questions on that, like I said, you can throw them into the chat, but we'll go on to social ads. And we'll pause for a little break after this, but for social ads, they've obviously blown up in recent years. So whether it's TikTok, Facebook, you name it, there's a ton of opportunity out there. So the key to success with social ads is, again, you got to understand how social ads work. The key to that is understanding your demographic and understanding your clients. So again, if I'm targeting a 65-year-old or up, I'm probably going to go Facebook. Nextdoor would be another great one. Again, those are typically more personalized, or Nextdoor being more personalized local platform. Facebook being kind of that broad-based 2.8 billion user type thing. So you're bound to hit your demographic somewhere there. But if I'm targeting a younger demographic, again, I might do Instagram, I might do TikTok, Snapchat, something like that. So again, you just have to understand where your target demographic is. The other thing you have to understand with that is that, these platforms aren't necessarily designed for you to just push your products and services. You have to create that engagement. So even with social ads, this is just like a post, is you want to capitalize on that engagement. The more people that engage, the more likely it is to be shown up to other people, so on and so forth. So with that, again, think about what you're promoting and what platform you're promoting on. TikTok, for example, there's a lot of great ways to do that. Funny videos always tend to, do well. Puppies and babies sell everything, if you didn't know that. So, think about that type of stuff as to what content you're producing and what you're putting out there versus that platform and what that audience is looking to receive. Facebook being kind of a broad base, variety of demographics on there. You can narrow down your demographics on there, and we encourage you to do that. I would say, don't just go out and create one ad either. That's another common mistake that people do. They'll go and create an ad, they'll go and, pay to, play, and then all of a sudden they're wondering why nothing's happening. Whenever we create ads for clients, I'm creating anywhere from 2, 6, maybe 10 ads at a time for a client. And we're doing A/B testing. We're looking at, okay, well, what's hitting, what's not? Why is this not? What could we do to, optimize for that? And I know as small business owners, we don't necessarily always have the time for that. But I will tell you, if nothing else, maybe just a couple of ads that you guys can do just to change things up a bit, so people aren't seeing the same thing over and over again. It'll diversify your posts. It'll just create that next little visual for them, and hopefully you can convert them to a client. So again, back to understanding your audience, you really, really, really need to drill down to get your biggest bang for your buck. So real quick, I'm going to take a look at the chat here. Let me move this over.
And Chris, we have some good questions in the Q&A as well. In the Q&A box.
So I don't even know where they start. So Faith, if you, okay.
I'll jump in and I can read the questions that we have in the Q&A in the order.
Right.
So the first two relate to the same thing. It relate to scheduling posts ahead of time. One is here that scheduling posts kills engagement, and the other is what apps do you recommend for use? So I know those questions kind of intermingle.
Yeah. And I would agree. I mean, we don't want to rely on scheduling posts as, for our engagement. Obviously, those are fillers and to create consistency out there. I can tell you, we do get a lot of engagement even on our scheduled posts. So I really think it comes down to a lot of, what you're scheduling and how you're scheduling it out. So if it's a content thing, that's another discussion. The other one too is each platform, they really value native posts. So when you're scheduling it out, I know everybody wants that shortcut to use things like Hootsuite or, the automated schedulers or the multi-use platforms, if you will. I can tell you there's a diminished value behind that because they're not native. It's the same content being posted across platforms. And so I will tell you this, my recommendation is always to post native. And so that's going to get you the biggest bang for your buck, if that makes any sense. And you can use the scheduling feature on the platform. So again, it's just a matter of, it's a little extra time. I get it, but it's worth the extra time if you can do it that way.
Excellent. We have one from Kimberly. Says, we are a winery with 25,000 plus followers on Instagram. Do you know what our limitation on Facebook and Instagram are in terms of marketing alcohol on these platforms via boosted ads? We are limited in how we market our products. Are we limited?
I believe you are. I'd have to go research that for every client. We do something, we look at all the different attributes because again, different platforms are going to offer different things. Facebook might not be the right one. Instagram might not be the right one for you. There might be a whole different pool out there somewhere else. So I don't really have any suggestions offhand, and I don't know of anything right off the top of my head that would limit us. But again, I know obviously alcohol, anything alcohol, tobacco, anything like that is obviously, those are restricted headings. So there's bound to be some limitations. I just don't know specifics off the top of my head.
And then we have, would you expand more on how to use Nextdoor for social ads?
Yeah, so Nextdoor, they're trying to monetize their platform just like everybody else is. So again, just like Facebook, ad revenue is what drives these guys. So for Nextdoor, you can create a business profile on that. So if you haven't done that already, it's more than just creating a personal profile. There is an option to create a business one. And then there's advertising settings within that. So again, typically, if you're posting as a consumer there, you're isolated to your neighborhood. So it's limiting, but relative. As a business, you can expand that geography out when you pay to play. So again, without getting too deep on this, I would encourage you go set up, just search, Nextdoor for business, walk through their setup tutorial, and then again, they have a whole ad section in there for you.
The last one we have in here is from Jeffrey. Says, what would you recommend for seniors getting transportation?
So let's see here. I need to know a little bit more about that in terms of, are we looking to target seniors and what that looks like? So if you could expand on that, we'll catch that one towards the end. But yeah, I would need more information on that one. So.
All right, that's it for now.
All right, so let's go ahead. So next up here, and let me get this off of my screen. If I can move this. There we go. All right. So next up is going to be storytelling. This is my fancy way of saying content marketing. But content marketing, most people glaze over. So we're going to call it storytelling today. So storytelling is going to be huge. And this is really, I'm going to tell you one thing that honestly will change most business owners' perception of this. And that is, if you don't talk about it, you can't rank for it. That's a general concept that we try to push on clients, is that, if you're a plumber and you want to rank for drain cleaning, well, guess what? If you don't mention drain cleaning anywhere on your website, chances are you're probably not going to rank for it. So these are little things that, again, go a long way for you as business owners. So next up here, switch my screen. So there are very few businesses out there anymore with a truly unique one-of-a-kind product or service. Again, there's a lot of competition out there. So the way that we have to stand out as business owners is really to talk about what we do. And I know this sounds like an oversimplification, and trust me when I say it's really, even to get 500, 1,000 words per page can be a tough go of it. I mean, it really can. Me, I love writing, I love content. So to me, I don't typically have as much of a challenge, but again, as a plumber, how many ways can you say drain cleaning? How many ways can you say, hot water heaters, things like that? So I get it that there can be challenges, but you really need to find a way to talk about what you do, your key differentiators, and that'll establish you as really the expert in the industry, if that makes any sense. At the end of the day, we'd have to do one thing, and that is help people get out of their own way. You have one shot to make a great first impression, and this is where it starts. It starts with the education and providing your perspective on things. We as business owners are the experts in our industry. We are among very few that do what we do. And again, if everybody did what we do, then we wouldn't have a job today. So we have to remember that type of stuff. Another concept that we try to teach is, again, really making sure that business owners understand the concept of stopping the search. So oftentimes when businesses or consumers are looking for your product or service, they're browsing around the internet, they're doing all this research. And the idea is we don't want them to go on to the next guy. We don't want to educate them, provide them all this detail, and then let them go on to somebody else to ultimately do business with them. We want to stop the search. And that starts with really, really, really well-designed content. So in a recent survey, 47% of buyers view 3 to 5 pieces of content prior to engaging with the sales rep. And then the majority of them expect brands now to create content to gain their interest. This is a huge number. So, I mean, if you needed the why behind content marketing, this is it. So it's one of the most important aspects of really any digital marketing strategy. The other thing I will add to this is that your website is really the foundation of any program. I mean, any successful ad, any campaign, anything that you do, it really comes down to the website now. That's oftentimes the first impression that people have. It's no longer, oh, well, they drove by my business on Bell Road, and so, they found that. That's not how things work anymore. Most of the time, most of us are starting our searches at home, and then we're going to those businesses. So content marketing is a powerful way to connect. It's a great way to build engagement and trust. That's the most important one. Bad content, on the other hand, can be detrimental to the business. So again, you got to really make sure that you're reading through things, you're doing the right thing for your business, you're talking about your products and services, because I promise you, it's really worth its weight in gold. Good content builds credibility, and again, it's more likely to engage consumers than not. So really think that through. When we talk about content, and I'll give you a couple of little pro tips, is again, most people, when they're doing this, the reason why they are unsuccessful is because they overcomplicate things. 100% of the time, that is what I find my clients are doing. When I ask them, hey, can you do me a favor? I need you to write a page on kindergarten, and I need it to be 1,000 or more words. And, oh yeah, we'll get that taken out. I get a page back that's like 250 words, and it's like 2 paragraphs, and that's all they could put together. Happens all the time. And when I sit there and we talk about it, it really comes down to, well, I just couldn't think about anything else, to write about. This is where we get other people involved. Don't have all of this right on you. You need to talk to people that have done business with you. Get, if you have loyal clients that you can trust or that you can, engage with, ask them questions. Hey, why did you buy from me? Those are easy ways to get information. Another one, again, we always go back to questions. I probe my staff every single week for, hey, what are people asking you? When you're doing strategy sessions, what are you finding? Because that is such valuable information for me. It really helps me put together the next set of strategies for those clients. So ask yourself this. I always tell clients, hey, do yourself a favor, and let's use a plumber. I pick on plumbers all the time. So let's say you're a plumber. What are the top 10 questions that people ask you about drain cleaning? If that was too easy, go top 20, go top 30. These are paragraphs right there. All of these things, chances are, if I turned you loose on them, you could probably write a paragraph about each one of those. So again, you got to articulate this a different way, but this is a great starting point for most businesses. Just take your top 10 questions, take your top 20 questions about each individual subject. What most people I find do there, if they're going to make a mistake, is that they try to make it too broad. They talk about the business. Do it very, very specific on your products and services. The other pro tip that I'll give you on FAQs is that these are voice search compatible, which means oftentimes if you're asking the question in the right way and somebody on Amazon or Google asks the same question, chances are you could show up for that. That's position 0. That's a whole nother conversation for another day, but that's a huge, huge, huge thing for you guys. So again, FAQs are a big portion of this. So don't be afraid to add those to the page. Don't be afraid to have that as your starting point for content. Those are great tips for you to write awesome, awesome, awesome pages. The other pro tip with storytelling, make sure that you have dynamic images associated with them. The last thing that me as a consumer I want to see is if I'm on a page and I'm talking about drain cleaning, or I'm looking up drain cleaning and then I see a picture of like the Eiffel Tower. Probably not relative, not going to really make a whole lot of sense. So make sure your images connect to the content that you're writing about. Last but not least, we're going to talk about the user experience. And so this is going to be a big one. There's a lot of slides on this, so I'm going to breeze through this a little bit because some of them are going to make more sense than others. So let's go ahead and knock this out. Google has put a ton of effort into interpreting client experience. If you haven't followed Core Vital algorithm update last year, really kind of turned everybody upside down in terms of how, how SEO is done, so on and so forth. So user experience, it's more than just site speed, despite popular belief. So again, the basics, it's site speed. Is it easy to do business with you? Key visuals, engagement features, automation. There's a lot that goes into user experience. So we're going to touch on these pretty quick. Site speed. So simple concept. The more quick and nimble the site, the more likely our consumers are to have a good experience. Fact is, we have no patience as consumers. We want. I call it the Amazon effect. Amazon, if I don't get a package in like the same day now, I'm pretty upset about everything. So, take that into consideration. Really think about that. If consumers have to wait for something, chances are we're going to move on. We're going to move on to something bigger, something better. So really, if your site is slow, it lags, especially on mobile, where the vast majority of site traffic is coming from, although desktop did make a bounce back in COVID, mobile is still the primary source. And so that's something with their mobile first index. That's a huge, huge, huge deal. So do yourself a favor, run a page speed score. It's a free service. It's on Google Developer Tools. I put the link in there, but again, you can just search Page Speed Insights or Google Page Speed Score. And again, you can look up all of this information. They'll give you a complete report on how slow or fast your site is and what you need to do to fix it. If you got a web guy on the backside that helped you build the site, send it over to him. Just say, hey, what's going on, buddy? And see what they can do for you to fix it. That, like I said, that'll be a huge thing. If you have a WordPress site, I recommend NitroPack. It's a free tool or free resource. It doesn't cost you any money unless you hit a certain amount of visitors or site traffic each month. But again, for my site, and I can tell you, I can be honest with everybody here, is that my site is a big, big site. So, I mean, we have hundreds of pages on the backside. My site score without NitroPack's like a 3. So again, we just have a really, really big site. With NitroPack, we're in the 80s and we're doing really good. So again, think that one through. We can talk about what NitroPack is later. If you have any questions, just hit me up. But NitroPack will make your site much more nimble, much quicker overall. Next up, simple concept. Is it easy to do business with you? Consumers want access to information on their terms. So we don't want to look for things. We don't want to have to scroll and navigate down to a contact us button or to the footer of the page to find a phone number or an address. You need to make sure that that information is front and center with consumers. The more likely they are to, the easier it is to find that stuff, the more likely they are to do business with you. So simple example, if you're on a mobile phone, I want to click to call at the top. If you have a physical brick and mortar, I want the address right there next to it because I want to be able to click on that. I want it to take me to the maps and I want it to engage with my navigation system. That's as simple as it is. And most consumers follow that. Same thing with calling. I don't want to have to navigate, especially on my mobile device, down to the bottom of the page to find, or anywhere in the middle of the page to try to find a phone number. It's just not going to fare well. So again, the easier you can make it to do business with you, the better off you're going to be. So think about, and again, great example that I give, e-commerce stores are notorious for this. They make it really difficult to find contact numbers. Most of the time, they just want you to buy products. So if you've had that experience, relate that to your website and just say, is this happening to me? So keep it simple. publish your hours of operation, make sure your phone numbers are up there, addresses, they're clearly visible. If you have an appointment scheduler, a big one now, chat feature, tons of stuff that you can do, even social media icons. That's another big one that I think most people forget. They really want people to engage with them on social, but then when you look at their website, their social media icons are down at the bottom. There's nothing that even references that anywhere on there. You're really leaving it up to the consumer to like go on a little detective mission to find it. And I can tell you, people aren't going to do it. So do yourself a favor, evaluate your own website, do a little self-reflection, have somebody else give you some feedback. Look at your website and see, are we implementing all the best practices to make our site successful? And again, this is just a limited number of them. So if you guys have any questions on that, like I said, feel free to let me know and I can run through it with you. But you want things to be simple, nimble, and easy to do business with you. The next one, key visuals. Obviously, we talked about this numerous times. We're a visual society. So, stock pictures, they got to go. Now, again, some businesses, unfortunately, you have to go with stock. There's nothing wrong with that. We have stock pictures on ours. So, but what you want to make sure is that you diversify, pictures of your staff, products, services, inventory, happy customers. You want positive energy. So again, really embrace that. Same concept with social. I know it's easier, to use those stock pictures, but try to avoid that if possible. I already gave you the examples of the stores, products, customers, stuff like that. It's almost a validation that you're a real business and that you're trustworthy. Other big ones, again, Chambers of Commerce logo, BBB, love them or hate them, those are great accolades for the business. Again, it legitimizes the business and makes consumers a little bit more comfortable. Again, BBB rating, love them or hate them, it's a great little badge to have on the website. Another positive behind these is that oftentimes this is phenomenal for your SEO because again, those are trusted sites by Google. And so that association between the two and that backlink that those provide will often help your site rank better too. So again, those are just little things that you guys should look at. Again, community service work, charities that you work with, all of these things to humanize the brand. This is what's going to make that difference between them just looking at your site for information and moving on, or them engaging to convert or ultimately to be a customer with you. And then let's see here. Next up, engagement features. I know this sounds silly. This is a fun one that I love to do personally. It's oftentimes a little more difficult, I think, than just creating content. So first and foremost, I'd focus on your content. But second off, these engagement features, like for chiropractors, top 5 tips to keep good posture at work. It almost sounds stupid. Who would download that? I can tell you an amazing number of people. Like those type of things, people want that information. They'll give you their email address. They'll give you something for that. Maybe not everybody, but it's a great way to capture information and to market to them long-term. That's the name of the game. We got to get that information. We got to make sure that we, eliminate barriers to entry. We got to make sure that we can hit these people back that might not be the right time right now, but maybe down the road we can get them. And there's a variety of industries that this can work in. Again, insurance companies, chiropractors, health insurance, HVAC, really any type of contractor, trade, even retail stores. There's a lot of stuff that can be done for that. So really think outside the box. What of value can you provide or educate a client on? And in exchange for that, get their information. Think that one through. So, and I have numerous examples of those, but they work every single time. I have plenty of clients that have those on their websites. And I'll tell you what, those get downloaded constantly. Normally, the challenge that most business owners have is time to follow up with all of them. So again, that's a great problem to have. Last but not least is going to be automation. So if you do not have a CRM in 2022, you're really honestly behind the power curve. You really, really, really need to invest in a client relationship management tool. And if you don't know what these are, this is going to be, the modern version of a Rolodex. This is you putting your information in there and keeping track of client engagement, keeping track of, who came in, when, document phone calls, and creating automation behind the scenes that will reach out to these people. I'll give you an example. So our CRM, we use a system called Zoho. Zoho is a low-code CRM. It's fairly affordable. It's a great system. I love it. There's Salesforce. There's 100 million of them out there. There's just tons. So some industries like insurance have industry-specific ones that you can use. So do yourself a favor. Don't just jump in because Chris uses Zoho. Don't just go buy Zoho today. Look around. See what works best for you. Do a couple demos of them. Do a couple. Just check a few of them out to see what's going to fit best. What we do for our lead nurture campaigns, so to give you an idea on lead nurturing, it all depends on what level of engagement, but we have up to, I don't say every client gets this, but we have up to 15 different lead nurturing campaigns that go out to potential clients. And that all depends on what they do with us. If they come to the website, fill out a form, we call them and leave a message, that's going to go down one route. And this is all automated because I tell you, I don't have the brain power to do this on a daily basis. So, these things go out automatically, and it might be a series of 2 to 3 emails over a 10-day period or a 20-day period. But that automation on there, it keeps me out of keeps me out of having to do it manually, keeps my business top of mind to those clients. And I can't tell you how effective they are. They work, and they work really, really well. Same thing with your email marketing campaign. It allows you to effectively manage email marketing. And there's so much more. I'll give you an example. Our CRM is programmed so that after each client call, it sends an automatic survey. I want to know what my clients are, how their experience is with my company. That's super important as a business owner for me to understand. And even if it's me on the call, I can tell you, I've had surveys go out to clients and they'll rate me a 4 out of 5. And what in the world just happened? Well, it gives me an opportunity to improve. If I don't know that something's wrong, I can't fix it. So this is one of those really, really, really silly things that we take for granted, but I can tell you goes a long way in the end. So look at a CRM. Those are great ways. And again, don't get overwhelmed by all of the features that they have. That's another big one that business owners I find do. They look at all of the things that can be done with it. And it's like, yeah, too much. Start slow. Just start by entering your leads in. Start by sending out an email each month, something like that. And then go from there. Start expanding on it. I can tell you, we run everything through our CRM down to our finances, my expense reports, my payroll, you name it, everything goes through our CRM. So it's our system of record for our entire business. For you, you might only use a couple of components of a CRM, and that might be great for you. But again, that automation will save you time, money, and it will create for lasting relationships with clients. So that's a ton of information, and I hope we're not over on time, but I will turn it back over to you.
All right. So if we talk about CRMs, we did a session recently, well, it was last year on CRMs. I'm going to post in the chat about that session. It was done by a Salesforce provider, but they didn't focus on Salesforce. They focused on everyone. So I'm going to post that in the chat real quick. If people are interested in understanding more about some CRMs and some of the basic ones that are out there. So real quick, we got a couple questions. I think we'll have time for these. Chris, first, in Facebook advertising, do you suggest doing multiple boosted sponsored ads or just one at a time?
No, we do multiple at the same time. So again, some people are going to resonate or connect with certain things at certain times. And again, it's impossible for us to nail down every single thing for a potential consumer. So I run multiple ads. Again, just depends on the client, anywhere from 2 to 4, 6 ads at a time, 6 boosted posts. We're constantly inundating people. And it's really it's a numbers game at the end of the day. You have to remember on social media, it's not like Google. Google, people are searching for your products and services, and that's how pay-per-click works. Social media is not like that. These are people that may have an interest in what you do, but they're not necessarily buyers yet. And so we call it an awareness item. It's like throwing a billboard up on I-17. When you start to understand social from that perspective, it becomes a lot more manageable. So a lot of people jump in and they'll throw 50, 100, 200, 500 bucks into social, and they won't get anything for it. And they'll, well, what in the world? Well, your return is not necessarily immediate. There is some low-hanging fruit on there. You will see leads that come in, but the bulk of what you get is really, it's a long-term game. So companies that go in to try to do social ads for, anything really less than 90 days, they're oftentimes very unsuccessful. And so it's a long-term strategy that you got to write out. You got to create a budget and you got to commit to that budget. And I promise you, it will work. Social is a very effective lead generation tool when it's done right.
All right, and then the last question we have is going back to the one we asked earlier about the transportation company. It says, I have a transportation company. Where do I begin to get seniors to ride with us?
Great question. So from a digital side of things, I think that we have a variety of platforms. Again, if it's local, I think Nextdoor is a great one. You got a lot of seniors, a lot of sharing of information on that platform. I think Facebook is your general awareness platform. I think that's fantastic. Again, that connection piece with other local nonprofits, I think, is a phenomenal opportunity for you. So that's really more of a grassroots guerrilla type campaign. The website is going to be instrumental in this. It's really about, that trust, especially with our seniors. Trust is a big thing with them. So I would want to make sure that the website really elaborates. It really goes into great detail on what you do, how you do it. I want to see that your drivers are vetted. I want a lot of different like a lot of accolades, if you will, on that page that really speak to, the integrity of the company, stuff like that. I will tell you from a senior point of view, we have to think logically about where they go. I think the yellow pages would be a great option for you as well. So that would be, periodicals would be another one. Senior targeted publications would be a great one. Getting into the retirement communities themselves. Oftentimes they have HOA newsletters and things that you can purchase ads into. So a lot of this is going to be, boots on the ground, you taking that initiative to reach out, because again, they don't have most senior communities, they don't have the resources for that to advertise to a larger demographic. So reach out to them, see what you can get in there. Other ones, again, we can think outside the box. You might find certain social clubs, senior groups, veteran type organizations. Those might be great resources for you as well. So hopefully that helps a little bit.
All right, excellent. And real quick, we're gonna hit one last one. It says, what do you suggest for B2B?
Well, that's where I live. So honestly, from a B2B standpoint, it really comes down to, for us, is that personalized outreach. We, call them cold calls, call them whatever you want. But from a B2B perspective, we run a lot of Facebook ads. We run a lot of pay-per-click to get that low-hanging fruit, if you will. But aside from that, it's really those awareness items, helping people understand that they have a need for our services, and then helping them understand how, what we do will equate to an ROI. That's the big deal for most business owners, and I can speak as a business owner. When somebody approaches me with a product or service, I immediately want to understand, okay, how is this going to benefit my business? It's either got to save me time, it's got to generate money. I mean, those are just the basics of it. So oftentimes when you're looking at ads for B2B, if they don't answer that, you're probably not going to get a response. You're probably going to have a very low conversion rate on those. So you got to hit business owners where it counts, and that's where it counts. They want to know, I want to know, how are you going to help me make money? Or how are you going to simplify my life, which ultimately leads me to make more money? So that's what we have to ask as business owners. So Facebook is probably the largest, obviously, out there. I would also stress to you guys too, if you guys are doing Facebook and Facebook ads, really consider VSLs. VSLs are your video. It's basically a video sales pitch. They don't have to be rock star status. You've probably seen 1,000 of them before, but it's a very personalized approach that, believe it or not, captures a lot of people's attention. So again, that's just one of the ads that I would do. I would not rely on that as my sole ad, but really speak to what you do and how you do it. A lot of people are open to having that conversation, but they don't want to watch a 5-minute video. Keep it short and sweet, 30 seconds to 2 minutes at the most, and then really hit it where it counts. Again, this is what I do for businesses. I create this, I do this. This is what our clients see in an ROI. Call me now. Little things like that can go a long way.
All right, perfect. Great way to wrap it up. We are a little past time, but that's all right. I want to get those questions answered while we're here. Chris, thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. Great presentation. Thanks to all the attendees. Great questions as well. So we appreciate you being here. For some of you, if you missed last week was also on some branding and touching on that and identifying what makes you stand out from your competition. So if you didn't get a chance to see that, it's on our website. I recommend going back and reviewing it. It'll help you identify what your value proposition is and what makes you better than your competition or different from your competition, which is important to share as well. So thank you very much. We will go ahead and wrap up today. We hope everybody can join us next Tuesday. And we also hope to see many of you on our workshop tomorrow from 9 to 11. Until then, everybody have a great day, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Have a great day, guys.